Good morning from the lobbies or vestibules of Manhattan to the rooftops of Brooklyn. This is Good Mornings Super, the podcast that shines a light on the people who keep New York City's buildings up and running from day to day. Every other week, your hosts, Peter Gresh, Roberto Cardona, Mimi O'Connor, and me, James Park, sit down with supers, porters, and property managers to talk shop, share stories, and reveal what it's really like to keep the city moving, one building at a time. Okay, just a quick intro here. We have Peter Gresh. Whoops. Hold on 1 second here. Okay, Peter. Peter Gresh has 47 years in building operations, having been a doorman, handyman, chief engineer, and finally a resident manager of a luxury high-rise in New York City. He has taught for a local 32 BJ for 15 years. Peter Gresh has also founded the Superintendent Technical Association, commonly known as the STA, an association driven to train building supers and resident managers throughout the years. Roberto Cardona has been a resident manager for 28 years, working up from a porter to assistant resident manager. More recently, he worked as an engineer in New York City Hotel, and he served for 18 years as the president of STA. I'm sorry, 12 years. Okay. Mimi O'Connor, I'm going to see if, is a writer and editor specializing in real estate and culture, and is a longtime contributor to New York City real estate website Brick on the Ground. An upstate New York native, she has lived in Brooklyn for more than 2 decades and currently calls Kensington home. Myself, or me, James Park, I am the executive director at Spark Super, a company whose mission it is to bring the live-in super experience to every building in New York City. Okay, how are you guys doing? Good morning.
Good morning, and good morning, supers out there.
Hello, good morning
Okay,
to all
so
the New York City supers.
great. Thank you, Roberto. Thank you, Peter. Okay, so today we are here with Peter Gresh. Peter Gresh had retired in what year?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Okay, so you retired and you moved to
Pennsylvania. Poconos.
And the Poconos. Okay, and how's it been like in the Poconos?
Beautiful. Very nice. Quiet, stress-free. The only stresses you may have is trying to stay in front of the bear that's running after you.
You do have bears there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And deer and geese and turkeys.
Gotcha. And Roberto, also, you retired as well.
I retired in February.
Gotcha. Okay. So, tell us about how your post-retirement has been.
My post-retirement went quite well. I got lucky. I was very lucky. I had my condo paid for, and I had no bills to have it. And I didn't need to worry about paying bills after retirement. I was paid up full, and so far so good. I've been in good health, and I've been actively in the field for many years, along with Peter Gresh, as president of the STA.
Okay.
I also work very well and very happy with a great team of people.
A question for both Peter and Roberto. I'll start with Peter. Are there any moments in your day that you miss being our resident manager?
Before I answer that question, just want to say I apologize now. In case I say anything that's maybe off color or politically incorrect, or if I happen to upset anybody. I don't mean to do it, but I am who I am. And the second thing I'd like to say is whatever we say, Roberto and I here, it's our opinion. And of course, as you know, opinions, everybody has one. So it's our opinion to do that, to whatever we say. And now, I'm sorry, James. Oh, one other thing. James, thank you for having us here and hosting this and funding this podcast. Now, what was the question?
The question was, is there any moment during your day, now that you've retired from, I guess, the luxury high-rise that you've been working for many years, is there any time during the day that you miss being a resident manager?
There are times when I do miss being resident manager. What I miss the most is being the boss, being in command, being around people. I do miss that. There's a lot of things I do not miss. Yeah, but I do miss just being the man, being the go-to guy. I kind of miss that. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about, podcasts can be really just a broad range of topics. I mean, this podcast is for different categories of people, but primarily it's for resident managers and building superintendents out there, building staff who have really, especially building superintendents and resident managers, they have nowhere to go to really talk about issues that they're having, the stress that they're feeling, because they are in a very, like a very unique part of a building and that requires you to keep confidential with the information that you have. So there's a lot of stresses that superintendents and resident managers go through that sort of is better, much healthier talked about. So one of the hopes or goals of this podcast is to kind of create a platform for them to do so. And stress is definitely something that we want to help supers manage. Great for property managers because you don't want to deal with a stressed out superintendent. You may, there are things out there that, in my experience, things that happen on the work field that create a lot of stress that a lot of people don't know about and don't know that they do indeed create the stresses in the work environment of the resident manager, superintendent. So this is one thing that I wanted to see if we can touch upon, right? So when you talk about stress, how about yourself, Roberto? Any stressful? I'm sure there's no stress in your job.
And no, there isn't any stress, but every job has its level of stress. It's something that we have to accept as a part of life. Stress appears everywhere. It could be whether it's a rage driving or people pushing, standing online. People exploit stress. But there's a lot of triggers to stress, and that's what we need to recognize about the level of stress and who we're dealing with, because some people can't accept it and act improperly. Some of them get physical, others just vent loud anger. But any which one is not acceptable.
Do you want to elaborate on a situation that occurred that?
Well, sometimes as a resident manager, you would have to deal with contractors who come into the building and act like they're in charge of you. You have contractors that come into buildings and do things that they're not supposed to, and then they say, well, this is the way we always work. Say, well, maybe wherever else you worked, but not here, because here I'm the one that calls the shots. So you have to work under me, under my supervision. So this is the way things go. And some of them can't accept that, and they react. They get very hostile, raising their voice, waving their hands. And you got to placate the situation by carrying yourself as a professional in the field and resolve the problem in a proper manner. But some people can't accept it. But we do our best to resolve it by using the proper tone of voice and the proper body language when confronted with these people.
Peter, has it ever happened to you?
Oh, yes, stress is part of the course. But understand something, sometimes we create our own stress. Perhaps you procrastinate doing something. You're supposed to have a report going in and you wait to the last moment, then all of a sudden the pressure is on you to get that report in or to do that particular job. So where did that stress come from? It didn't come from a contract. You created it. So that's one thing. And the second thing is with stress is it's not the stress itself, but it's how you deal with the stress. That's more important. Because stress, you're going to find it everywhere. But how you actually deal with it is very important. And then you got to learn how, once the stress, that part of the stress is done with, you need to review. What did you do? How did you do it? What worked? What didn't work? But yeah, stress is, like I said, it's everywhere. From the doorman that calls in sick to the porter who didn't understand your instructions. But again, that could come back to you because you didn't make it clear enough. You didn't make that doorman understand about calling sick. So a lot of the times the stress is created by ourselves through perhaps poor communications, not making people understand. The contractors Roberto spoke about should have known up front what the rules are. These are the rules, and they're not negotiable. And once that contractor understood that, there'll be no stress. And if there was, you throw the bum out.
I've seen contractors get thrown out.
Oh yeah, I've stopped jobs.
Yeah, some of them, we had one situation where the tenants were complaining that there was no water in their apartments. And the boss went to check it out, and he asked me, Roberto, help me with this. The tenants don't have water. So I checked, and sure enough, they didn't. So I asked him, do we have contractors doing shutdowns? He said, we have contractors, but we didn't order a shutdown to be done. No one was informed. And sure enough, the guys were working on the bathroom. They went downstairs, shut the water lines on their own, and the tenants were complaining, of course. The contractors went on their own. They thought they were in charge, and my boss didn't want to put up with it, which I don't blame him. And he effectively told them, asked me to bring them over, and said, "Did you guys shut this line down?" "Yeah, we're making a repair." "Who did you speak to?" "No, we just needed to do it." "Okay, sign out."
Out of curiosity, in every building, you have to put
Designate.
out notices.
Yes.
Right? And well in advance.
Yes.
Unless it's an absolute emergency. To let people know who are taking the shower,
At what time?
using the toilet, whatever, right? Cooking in the morning, have children going to school. So you have to let people know that
You're going to shut down for designated time
So
of day and on what given day.
right. So this contractor actually came and just shut the water off.
Just blatantly went downstairs
Okay.
and shut the water system down. And it takes time to
Yeah, that's
reinstate this service.
sure. And then it takes time to get the water back.
And then you're going to have a whole floor of people. It's even worse if the bathrooms are back to back.
Right. And you may have to turn the pumps off in addition to it.
It's a lot of work. And not only that, but you have to vent the air out of the system. Because when you have to go to the last floor, vent the air, because otherwise the toilet's going to explode on you.
Worst case scenario is the person that opened the faucet, nothing came out, and left it open and walked away.
Right.
And the water comes back on, and now you have a potential.
And if the bathrooms have flushometers and you flush, you can explode that toilet.
Well, even the pressure tank toilets can explode
Yeah.
too.
So, and we had one where one tenant was using the bathroom and he flushed and it exploded, and his whole bathroom was just covered in a mess. And to make matters worse, it was a mirrored bathroom. So that'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about and what it looked like.
Gotcha. And aside from other, what do you call that? Other stresses that you talked about, what other things have?
Well, what can cause what can lead to stress?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you one, what I call the invisible enemy, and that's a sleep apnea. Sleep apnea, many millions of people have it, don't even know they have it. Loud snoring, loss of breath, among other things. And in the morning, and then not getting a good sleep at night. So when you don't get that good sleep at night, in the morning you wake up a bit irritable, and you don't know what's the cause of it, but it's the sleep apnea. And that's something important
Okay.
for people to know.
So
Proper sleep.
Proper sleep. Okay.
Yes.
So in other words, if you have sleep apnea, you're not going to get proper sleep. So you should check into why you're not getting good sleep.
Exactly.
So that you can be well rested and tackle the stresses.
And the
of
telltale
life.
sign would be the wife. She would say, "Listen, you're snoring very loudly and you're gasping for air." So, and in the morning you wake up and you're not yourself and you're wondering why.
Right.
But it was just sleep. Because that to release stress, you need good sleep.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I sometimes I wake up and it's not just that I'm not myself, but I'm somebody else.
Okay, a split personality. Okay.
All right. So I'm sure you have stresses now, though, Peter, right? And you are
Only my wife gives me the stress. Right?
so what do you when she gives you the stress? Obviously, you can't send her away.
Nope.
So what do you-
Otherwise, I don't eat.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
prepare for-
No dinner.
For food and
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you.
Well, being retired doesn't mean, in my case anyway, it doesn't mean you stop not doing anything. I love gardening, so I've been working on the garden for the past several years, and we have over 2 acres in gardening. And just last week, there's one stressor right there.
Yes, on his finger.
The wood splitter got my finger, and that was not fun. A month ago, I tore my meniscus. My knees are bone on bone, but so there are a lot of stresses there. But gardening to me is the stress relief. I love gardening, and we had a showcase of our garden 2 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, very nice.
We were on a garden tour, and
Yeah. Were you able to do the gardening here in New York City when you were a resident manager?
when I was a resident manager, we always had a house in the Poconos. So on the weekends, we left.
So you used to do the gardening then, and
Yeah.
well, talking about I'm
What
sorry.
amazed me is that on weekends, when I was younger, I was able to get everything done in 1.5 days. You
God
get there
bless you.
Friday, you get there Friday, you leave Sunday afternoon.
Work was done.
And now that I'm retired, I'm in there full time, and it's like my wife and I'd say to each other, "How did we used to keep up?"
I love the pond you got.
Oh,
The
thank
pond, yeah, with the koi fish. That's beautiful.
You mentioned also going in to your Poconos house.
Right.
So getting away on the weekend is obviously
Extra.
a way for
Excellent.
people to
De-stress.
really
Stress,
de-stress
yes,
and
yes.
decompress.
It's very important that that happens. However, there are a lot of buildings that frown upon a super going away for the weekends. Or if you mention at your interview that you have a weekend house, that may not go so well with them. But there are many buildings that'll understand, and they'll don't mind the super going away as long as the building is covered. But yeah, it's important. You got to get away from the building. And if you don't have a house in the country, that's fine. Go do something that you like doing. Take the kids out. Go to the park. Whatever it is, get out of that building. It's the only job where we live, sleep, and work in the same place.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember times I'd be going to pick up pizza, so I'll be there at the pizza, and I got the pizza in my hand, and the tenant or resident would be there and saying, "Oh, Peter, while I got you," I look at my watch, it's 7 o'clock at night, and I am stuck 15 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Get home, pizza's cold, wife is angry. You don't blame them.
No, of
But-
course not.
You got to also learn to say no. By saying no helps de-stress you a little bit, because you can't try to make everybody happy. Well, let me rephrase. You can't make everybody happy. If you're trying to please everybody, you're heading for a little bit of a disaster, because there's no way to please everybody. You can try, but there are going to be people that don't or are not happy with what's going on.
Yeah. On that note, I'd like to say that supers have what I would term as a thankless job. Their job is actually 24 hours, and on top of that, they work in all weather conditions, and people don't take consideration of that.
And we make house calls.
And we make house calls. Doctors don't even do that anymore. Come on, let's be honest. We work hard. We work hard, and
Well,
we're not.
let's just say that you're one of the relatively few categories of people that are required to work during extreme situations.
Yes,
Snow,
and in any
blizzard,
weather, correct.
hurricane.
We're,
you're
we're the
expected to
we're
be
the
there.
building doctors.
Right.
That's what we do.
Right,
We,
right.
we take care of the building, we take care of the tenants, we gotta deal with the contractors,
Yeah.
we gotta deal with the employees.
So the, ta-
The management, the board, I mean, it just goes on and on.
so the takeaway of this is that you can, from getting away on the weekend, finding things that you can do to decompress, walk, kind of come back with a fresh look at things, fresh take at things, and that there's a lot of board members and property managers who may still be against the idea that a super is going to leave the building
Yep.
for the weekend. And it's important for them to know that it's a good thing because you allow them to decompress, come back with a healthier
Yeah,
look
a
on
fresh,
things.
fresh mind.
Yeah, and that it's actually the important thing that Peter had mentioned was, hey, the concern that most board members have is that's okay, we get it that you got to go away, but we want the building covered because if there's an emergency and you're not around, which is the principal person that I hired to be at the building, we're going to be in deep, So, as Peter was saying, as long as the building's covered, which you can do when
If you're lucky enough to have staff
Yes.
working for you, then the handyman would be on call. But the trick there is to teach and show the staff members, the handyman, the porter, and doorman, where things are. So if something goes wrong and you're not there, the phone call, and you can, over the phone, tell them what to do, and they'll know or remember where to go and do it. And if you make things even more easier, you number your valves, you number your switches. So you tell them, okay, the number 5 switch in the boiler room to the left, go there. Today, it's a little easier because you got cell phones. Back in the day, we didn't have cell phones. We had beepers. That didn't
Yeah.
help. And whenever we went away, I always made sure that if I had, by rules, if I took my wife out and we had ballet tickets, no way to contact me except for the beeper. But if we went to a restaurant, leave the phone number of the restaurant where you go. Back in the day.
I think that's a great idea where you train the PhDs.
Yeah, you got to train.
Right? You got to train the PhDs.
What's a PhD?
Oh, a PhD, I'm sorry for those who don't know, are porters, handymen, and doormen. And when you properly train them in the event of a serious emergency, they respond quickly. And the doorman might call you and say, well, let's say your handyman's name is, let's say, David. Well, David's on it until you get here, just to inform you this is what's occurring. And these are the people right now presently involved that know about it. And then the super reacts quickly. And
Yeah.
the first thing he'll do is he'll call back and say, okay, let them know I'm away, but I am coming in. I'm getting in my car as of now, and I'm reacting to the situation at hand, and I'm coming over.
Yeah.
So that the board members know you're on top.
Right. We can go through. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. That, when the super is away, decompressing on a weekend, those supers may not work in a building with PhDs. So those supers definitely have to find other ways to hedge against the possibility that there's going to be emergencies like tagging valves and things like that. We could talk about that at another time, but I think the point here is that you want to find ways to decompress. I do know another colleague in the industry who runs marathons.
Yes,
Right? Actually, I
of
know
course.
a few of them, a couple of them, yeah.
Oh, that's excellent.
That runs marathons.
Exercise
New York
is
City
excellent.
marathons. How many miles is the New York City Marathon?
I have
Right.
no clue.
I think we all should do it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so much for that idea.
We can walk it,
So also
but
with decompression,
yeah,
when your day is over, go home. Don't linger in the building. Don't linger in your office. Go home. I never listened to that advice, but I'm telling you, it helps you. Just get out of your office and go home. that really is important. And once you walk in your home, you leave the building's issues outside the
Behind.
door, and that way
I
it'll
agree.
keep harmony within the household too. Also, vacation. You need to go on vacation. If you don't take vacation, you are heading towards getting burnt out. You need to take that time off, vacation, otherwise, and I did get burnt out one time. Totally got burnt out. And I had a beautiful, very 46-story building. After 5 years, I just got totally burnt out.
Really?
Yep. So I quit, and I just did odds and ends, handyman work, man with a van kind of thing, just to keep some stuff coming in. And then I took a small building. I went backwards. I took a small building, spoke with the landlord. I told him I'm burnt out. I just need a few years at your building. And he took me because he heard of my reputation, and that helped. It helped. Otherwise, seek professional help. There's
Exercise
nothing wrong
is
with that.
Well,
Exercise is good. Meditation,
okay, yeah, going to the
Tai
gym.
Chi Chuan,
Right, right,
family functions,
right, Mixed
group
martial arts.
meetings, right? You have
Right.
supers that have group meetings.
right.
That's all beneficial.
Okay. Yeah.
No, go ahead. I was going to say a girlfriend helps, but
Yeah, well,
I'm just kidding. All right.
Okay. Well, if you're single, why? I mean,
If you're single,
of course.
yeah.
I mean, that
I
doesn't.
knew one guy at an interview. They said, "Can you multitask?" He said, "Having 6 girlfriends at the same time, does that count?"
yeah. My brother ran the marathon. He's a banker in Fort Lauderdale. He ran the marathon in 3:15, which is 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Wow, that's
I
quick.
did the marathon one time. I also did 3:15, but it was more like 3 days and 15 hours because I can't run marathons.
Well, I think we've all agreed here that we're going to run the marathon together.
Yeah. You two.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's talking in a.
I got bad
Okay.
knees and a
What are you-
bad hip, so
Somebody's
I'm not
talking to
going for it.
themselves.
Well, you don't have to run. I mean, you can walk it. But okay.
Walk it.
But where can resident managers and superintendents go? I mean, does the 32 BJ have a place for?
I think group
Do they provide
meetings.
support?
Group meetings would be great. We have meetings ourselves.
Okay.
The STA. We
Right.
meet monthly on 90th Street between 2nd and 3rd. And the guys meet and they have pizzas, they have sodas, and they're all glad to be there. They all shake hands and tell stories, and they're very relaxed to the point where even after the meeting is over, we got to break them up because they stay right in the room.
Yeah.
We got to throw them out.
The other thing the other thing too is, now I lost my train of thought. The other thing too about meetings is that you learn that it's not unique to you, that other people, other supers are under stress, even the doormen. Doormen are under tremendous stress.
Right.
And because keeping an eye on people going in and out, making sure the packages are going to the right people, making sure the dry cleaning is going to the right person. One little slip up and you're in doo-doo. But so everybody gets stressed. But when the super gets the stress, then he puts more stress on his staff, and it just gets compounded. So being able to talk and hear other people and how they deal with the stress, or at least understand that you're not alone, that goes, in my opinion, a little bit of a big way.
Well, building staff members obviously have issues. All the staff members go through stressful situations. I've heard a lot of them. Is the resident manager usually the source of like a support source for building staff, like doormen? If they get stressed out, are resident managers, superintendents, are they do they serve as the stress relief for them, and should they? What role does the building superintendent, resident managers have in decompressing or de-stressing their staff?
Now you're approaching the difference between managing and leadership. True leadership means that you will help and listen. the best part about it of leadership is listening, truly listening to your staff's issues, understanding their issues, and helping them or guiding them to a resolution. Management, on the other hand, so what? You're stressed out. I'm stressed out too. Big deal. Join the club.
That's
Get
right.
in line.
Yeah.
But so true leadership would help try to resolve or help that person with the stress.
I totally agree. Leadership is very important, and being a good listener to your employees is equally as important.
Yes.
Because sometimes they have situations of their own, and they don't know who to talk to, and the super is their only medium.
Yep. Sometimes it's not even on the job problems. It could be
Exactly.
at home.
Exactly.
My mother is sick and she needs this, or my
Wife
family
just had
member
a baby or so.
or something. So, and if they can't come to you, who the hell could they go to?
Yeah.
And it's that simple. So those supers that are more of a managers, they're more like bullies, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But you
I've met
should,
them.
you
They're all over, right? They're all over the industry. They are.
I got a big list of all their names right here, but I tell you that
You said bully management.
in a way they're more of a bully. The management style is more
style
like
is-
bully.
yeah.
Do as I say. Do what I tell you to do. Do it my way.
I think society goes through. I mean, society as a whole. There's been a management style, a history of management style in the U.S.
Yeah.
in corporate America, and I guess that style was more of like my dad's age. Like, do this. I don't pay you to think.
Wait a minute, I'm
I
your
don't-
dad's
Exactly.
age.
Yeah, so much.
Well, then
That
you
makes two of us.
I'm older than I look, actually. So it is. I think that style may, and also it's something that is out there that people have learned. Maybe also has to come to. It's the quickest way to get something done, right? The property managers don't have time to talk to you and explain things, so they just want it done. They
Right,
bark
they
in
use
order and they expect you to follow.
They're using the fear factor as a leadership principle.
Okay.
And that's not good. That's going to get a negative feedback in any field, in actuality. In any field where you're using the fear factor on your employees, it's not going to work for you.
Yeah, fear-
It's going to be a negative result.
Okay, so it creates more stress.
Yeah,
Yes.
fear works short term. When the staff are scared of you and tenants or residents are scared of you, that works in the short term. Sooner or later, it will come back and bite you karma. But yeah, management style or management leadership styles are evolving and changing. And now there's a movement now called Kaizen, which is from the Japanese. And it's more about learning a little something new, something small, something every day, and improving yourself every day, and encouraging your staff to learn something and improve, a little bit of improvement. So if you want to improve somebody, you don't hit them with, you better improve 50% by the end of the month. You aim at a little of improvement, 1%, 2% a day, or 5% a week, and then in a month or 2 months, you will see a great improvement.
Yes.
So, Kaizen is one way, and but yeah, we are evolving, and
Ye-
it's no longer about
correct.
fixing plumbing, fixing the boiler doesn't work. Who do you call when the boiler breaks down? You call a boiler mechanic.
That's right.
Who do you call when a tenant breaks down or your porter breaks down? Who do you call? That's it. You're the guy.
Yeah.
You're the one.
What you don't want is employees that come to work feeling like they have to walk on eggshells once they enter the building
You mean because of you?
because of
The resident
your
manager.
method of leadership causes them to feel like I got to be careful with what I say or what I do, and I don't want this man on top of me. It's going to hurt my day. It's going to hurt my feelings. and you don't want to take that home. So you have to work under the pretense of walking on eggshells. That's not good. That's not good at all.
Right. Well,
Which adds to the stress.
Yeah, that's true stress.
Peter, what types of stressful situations have you handled at the buildings, in particular that you remember? If I ask you, what drove you the most, I guess, create the most stress for you back in your professional career? What would it?
My bosses, whether they're board members or whether they're managing agents, they put stress on you for many reasons. One main reason is they don't know what really they're doing. Supers know their buildings. Good supers know their buildings, know what's to do. When you're dealing with board members, they're board members. They may be lawyers, doctors, or whatever they are, and I'm sure they're good at what they do, but they're not, they don't know about buildings. And yet they pretend to know about buildings, so they add more stress. Managers who all of a sudden get a bug up there, you know where, decide to micromanage you. Micromanagement is a form of extreme stress, and I've been micromanaged a lot, and in one or two jobs, and so. But these are part of signs that kind of like telling you you're not wanted anymore. So learn those signs, and you know how to deal with them. But yeah, micromanagement is one form of stress. People telling you what to do that really don't know anything about it. Even engineers. I've gotten into arguments with engineers. And one time we're arguing over something. The landlord was there, the engineer and myself in the office. We're talking about, and I'm disagreeing with, I don't remember exactly what it was, but we're disagreeing. And then he finally said, listen, I'm the one with the degree. I'm the engineer here. And I said, wait a second. I opened my drawer up and I started taking out certificates. And I finally found the one I want and I held it up to him. And it said, see, Peter Greck, engineering Drexel, 4-year degree. I too hold a degree in engineering. And the guy just threw his hands up and walked out the door. And the landlord turns to me and says, Peter, I didn't know you were an engineer. I says, well, I'm not an engineer. This is my son's diploma. But the wisdom of the landlord at the time brought in a second opinion, and I was right. But yeah. So yeah, stress.
Okay.
And it could be little things that stress you out. All it takes is one person. Read my lips. One person to make your day miserable or your life miserable.
So the takeaway from this is that, you know, there's a lot of buildings, there's a lot of property managers. Look, micromanaging is not going to end, right?
No.
I would say I too have a tendency sometimes to micromanage, and I have to pull back and say, you know, I gotta give the team some space to kind of learn and make their mistakes and things like that. But it comes from feeling that things are done, if they're done your way, then that's the right way.
Yes,
So,
because mistakes are a stepping stone to perfection.
well, mistake, yeah, and then sometimes the reason why the micromanager doesn't like to see those mistakes is they say, well, if I had done it myself, you wouldn't have made those mistakes, and you followed with it. So how do you handle that, Peter?
I once spoke to I'm not sure if she was a psychiatrist or a sociologist. So I told her I'm having trouble with this person who's micromanaging. And she gave me some good advice. Micromanagement, you need to prove to them that you can do the job. So if you're given a deadline, if today is Thursday and they want something by Monday, get it done, give it to them on Friday, get it to them early. And you work on it slowly to prove that you're not going to let them down, because that's one of their fears, is being let down or a mistake being made. So she was quite clear on trying to help them help you, help them feel better about you, trust you more. And that's pretty much a lot about what micromanagement is. But sometimes you're not going to change people, and your job is not to change them, but perhaps to get a little bit of the pressure off you. And if that doesn't work, get another job. There's plenty of buildings out there. Just start. Don't quit your job before you have one,
That's right.
but start looking.
Start
That's it.
looking.
That's another
That's
topic.
not
Quitting
the
your job
resume.
before you have one.
Because why do you want to live like that?
That's what I'm saying, on eggshells.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Yeah, unless you have really no other choice. But
It's not acceptable.
yeah, well, property managers, if I was to tell you how many property managers I not only saved their jobs, but I've also trained because they didn't know much. They may have known a lot about the finances, about budgets and everything else that goes with it, but about building operations, they didn't know much.
And God forbid if some of them, whether they be supers or managers or, they take alcohol, they drink alcohol off the job and come back into the building with a really stronger attitude, that makes matters even worse. I've had situations where I had to deal with people like that, and it's something like when you turn on the lights and the roaches disappear. That's how they felt when the super or the manager came into the building. They knew he had been drinking. It was in his eye. It was in his walk. Avoid him.
So what you're saying, I mean, drinking is
It's not
is
acceptable at all.
is a resort.
I mean, you drink, and then God forbid. All right, let's take a superintendent. Just as a hypothetical, but a superintendent goes on and says, it's on Friday. It's my Friday. I'm relaxing. I'm taking it easy. And he heads to the bar. And he starts hitting him. Starts hitting the alcohol. Starts taking a few shots, talking, laughing. Now the other guys are drinking. Now they're getting involved. All of a sudden, you have a pipe broken in the building. You got to go back and react to this. Now you're impaired. Now you got to look like you're in charge, so you're going to be yelling and pointing fingers because you don't want the attention on you because they know you're impaired. But the tenants don't know that. They just see you moving around and talking with a strong breath mint in your mouth. But, the impairment isn't going to help the situation.
Gotcha. So definitely drinking. I mean, we're not only talk about alcohol, but we talk about marijuana use.
Yes, it impairs the individual.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It impairs them driving or working.
Yeah, you might as well add the smoking to it too. Why not? Smoking as a stress relief. I am a smoker, and I'm a dying breed, and
Literally.
and so yeah. So I always use the smoking because of the stress I'm under, and my wife understood that. So now that I'm retired 2 or 3 years, I'm still smoking. My wife says, "So where's the stress? You're no more stress, and yet you're still smoking." So it is what it is. But even if you're at home watching football, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and you have a brandy, you have a Macallan or whatever, and you get a knock on the door, or doorman says, "We need you in the lobby." You go down there, your breath, it's on your breath. So one drink after you leave, that tenant's going to say, "Oh yeah, the super was drinking,
Yeah.
the super was drunk." It's once that gets out, it's not easy to put it back in. So try not to drink if possible, and if it is possible, then don't do it excessively, which is wise no matter what.
That's
and
right.
lastly is try to disguise it. Breath may help. But always remember one thing. As a superintendent in the Army, we used to say, you're always on parade, meaning that you're always being watched, not by video cameras or anything, but by people. When you walk through a lobby, when you're at the supermarket, walking down the street, people are watching you that know you. And so
Correct.
therefore, you have to be in your parade dress at all times.
I'd like to add that, one of the things that can be really detrimental to the super is word of mouth. sometimes one tenant, whether they smell your breath or they have a mishappening with you, the word will spread fast throughout the building. Would you agree to that?
And you can't put that back in the book.
And I had a situation where I helped a tenant get into his apartment because he lost his keys. And I was attending locksmith courses, and they taught me an alternative method of entering the apartment. So I said, look, I'll help you because you don't have the emergency key in the cabinet. So I helped the tenant get inside. I used a bypass system, and I got him inside the apartment. The next day I came to work, and the boss pulls me over. He said, come here, I want to talk to you. I said, what's the problem? He said, did you help someone last night get into the apartment? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, why didn't they use their pass key, their extra key in the cabinet? Oh, they didn't have one. And what did you do? I said, I used an alternative method of gaining entry to help the tenant get into his home. He said, well, he came into my office this morning, and he said to be very careful with you because you can get into any apartment in this building using that system. He told me, don't you ever, ever, unless I tell you and I'm standing behind you, do that again. So I stopped.
Yep, in my building, we had the same policy. You don't have a key, you call a locksmith.
That's
We
right.
do not help you get in. Because if something goes wrong, something gets missing, misplaced, a week later, oh, you know what? Peter helped me get into the door without my key, and he did it pretty fast. There you go. So, don't do it. You think you're helping people out? Heh, it may come back to bite you.
That's right. I tell, let's say, the handyman. Let's say the super tells the handyman, listen, the lady in apartment, let's say 15W, needs the waistline under her sink done. Okay, no problem. She's not home. You're allowed to use a pass key. Okay, so you go upstairs and you use the pass key. Now, as you're leaving, after performing the job of replacing the waistlines, as you're leaving, you notice on the table there might be money or jewelry. So what do you do? You can't leave the apartment. What you do is you call downstairs the super and ask him to come up. And when he comes up, you say, listen, I just fixed the waistline as you requested, but there's money and jewelry on the table. I'm not leaving unless you escort me out because I don't want the tenant to come back later and say, I'm missing money and jewelry to the super, because then the super can respond with, no, that was there when he left because I walked him out. So that's the way to play that.
Or once you left, you split it up 50-50.
I never thought of that. You know?
When you're entering,
No, I wouldn't. I would ask the super to escort me out.
Okay.
when you're entering people's apartments, you have to take extra care.
Yes.
I always had the rule 2 handymen or 2 people at a time when nobody's there, and that always worked well. The other thing too is that if the problem is in the bathroom, you go the shortest route from the front door to the bathroom and back. If it's the kitchen, shortest route from
That's
the
it.
front door to the kitchen and back out. If you're going to the bathroom and then you notice or hear something going on in the kitchen, do not go to the kitchen. You don't have authority to go to the kitchen. You either call your superintendent and let him know, or if you're the super, then you're authorized to do whatever you need to do. But if you have a subordinate, they're to only go to the designated spot where the issue is. Otherwise, now you're wandering around.
So
No good deed goes undone.
I guess the takeaway here for those who are not only in the field, but those who are looking to become superintendents or resident managers, that this field is rife with things that could go wrong, things that create
At any given
tons of stress.
That's correct.
So you have it. So if you can't take the stress, this may not be a right field for you, right? And if you are in this field, and you're, you're a property manager who's managing a resident manager, superintendent, you also have to be, you may want to be aware of things that may add stress that could be prevented, that can add stress to the life of a superintendent or resident manager, because ultimately that affects the working relationship, that affects the environment, the professional space that you guys work together, and that could lead to
Yes.
unintended
I've
consequences.
seen where the superintendent in one building where I worked at in Manhattan, he got really agitated, went into a rage with this contractor over these fabs that were supposed to be delivered. And when he was requesting the fabs,
The fobs.
the fobs, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
fobs.
the fobs, he was, I told him, oh, he's around the corner in the manager's office. He said, I need those fobs. The tenants are complaining every day at every given hour. I need those fobs. And I said, well, I'll tell him that you're here and that you need them. So I went to tell him, and he said, tell him I'll be there in 20 minutes. Well, when I told him that, that guy, he went into I'm telling you, he went into a rage, turned red, his eyes popped out. He got up, ran to the manager's office, and in front of the contractor, just snatched the fobs, walked back to his office. The contractor followed him. They got into a discussion, and I had to break them up. They were just about on top of each other. I had to call the doorman to give me a hand because there were these two huge guys. And that's totally unprofessional to react in such a manner.
Right,
like
right.
That's totally uncalled for, because in our field, it's in actuality, supposedly, in actuality, a field of hospitality. We're
Yeah,
supposed to be
yeah,
courteous. Yes, it is. It's all about, they ask you what field you're in. If you're in residential, you say, I'm in the field of hospitality. That's what you do. You got to be courteous.
Or one of your roles, but
Well,
yeah,
of
I
course,
mean,
one of many, one of many.
I think the takeaway here is that even hospitality, customer service, being knowledgeable about technical things, being
It's among those, yes.
and managing others, learning how to manage others, be the leader,
Exactly.
be the manager. Meanwhile, you're still in the chain of command, right? You're above you is the board of directors, the property managers, below
Right,
you
so
is the
you're
staff.
supposed to be the leader,
Right.
and you're supposed to be more than a leader. You also
Right.
have to be the role model.
Right.
So
Yeah,
if
so that-
you're, exactly,
so
because now
stress-
you're getting into a fight with the contractor.
Right.
That's not leadership nor role model to your other employees.
Right.
Management frowned on that.
Right, and you
He
don't
was gone.
and you don't want to, in terms of managing the stress, because building staff members, superintendents, resident managers, doorman, handyman, in dealing with the stresses that come with their jobs, there are right ways to do it. There are wrong ways to do it. Wrong ways being alcohol abuse, right?
Right.
You can have alcohol, but abusing alcohol
No,
is
they-
definitely more harmful in the longer run, in the shorter run as well, but in the longer run, marijuana,
Also impairs.
yeah, smoking, we'll leave it up there because I know
Well,
that
yes, smoking
is,
cigarettes too.
It's-
I
it's-
think-
I
bad,
only
but-
smoke cigars.
right, but it doesn't impair your ability to respond
Yeah,
to an
no, it
emergency,
doesn't.
and
It doesn't.
but it is ultimately, as we all know, it's harmful
Yep.
for you.
And
but-
if you're going on an interview and you do smoke, do not smoke before you go on your interview. And make sure your clothes are clean, because they will smell you
On your clothing.
on your clothes or on
Even
your
on your
breath.
hands when you shake hands.
Yeah.
Right, right.
It's the tobacco's on you.
Okay. All right. So thank you for this relaunch of the podcast. Thanks for listening to Good Morning Super. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow the show and leave us a quick review. It helps more people discover the stories behind the city's buildings. And if you want to connect with us, we will have the Good Morning Super website up, and sparksuper.com. That's our place, but an STA as well. Is the STA website back up?
It's
or-
up and running, yes.
It's up and running. Okay.
Yes, it's
And
still being built. We want to build our website to cater to be our members' website. It's not just my website or Robert's website. It's everybody's website. So we keep begging people to give us input and help us develop this website to what everybody wants. We don't get great feedback on that, but eventually we will. Eventually, but yeah, the website is up and running, and
you have your class. You have your meetings every month.
every
right?
month, usually the first Monday of every month. If you're interested in coming, best way to do is get in on our email list, because Every month we email the date and the location and topic. Best way would be my email address, which would be my name, Peter, last name Grech 911. Yeah.
I could also email it to them as well.
Okay, and at gmail.com. And I called 911 in my name, not because of September 11th, but because 911, who do you call when you have an emergency?
The super.
911.
The building.
Or you can call me,
Right, and I just realized today's September 11th.
911.
Yeah.
All right, great.
And you know, our goal, like yours, is to build stronger, friendlier, better educated communities. That's what we want.
Yeah, sure. I definitely think this industry can use more of that.
Yeah.
So
That's why we're here, people.
That's what we're all here.
We're here to help, to help improve, help you become better, to be all you can be. To copy from the Army. But yes, that's why
Okay.
we're here.
awesome. We'll see everyone in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Same time,
Same channel.
same channel, same day. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a
James,
great,
thank you for
great
having
week.
us.
Thank you for being here. Well, you
Thank
guys
you.
are the host, so you have to be here. You don't have a choice.
And good morning, supers. Have a good one.